Hello everyone, my name is Mohammed Tayyab, and in this video we are going to perform cohort analysis on a sales dataset. So by the end of this video, we will be looking into different metrics that I added here for the cohort analysis, and then I will also provide you the template file in the description. So this is the dataset we have. We will be using this dataset to do cohort analysis. We have invoice number, store code, description, quantity, invoice date, unit price, customer ID, country, and some calculated columns. We have total revenue, which is the multiplication of quantity and unit price. Then I got the year and month of the invoice date. How I did that? I simply extracted first the year and then the month from this date and simply formatted it in this way so I can clearly look into the year and month. And then we also got customer first purchase date. How I calculated that? I simply created a pivot table of the data set and then I added customer ID in the row field and then the invoice date in the value field. And I did the summarization by the minimum of the invoice date because I want to calculate the customer's first purchase date. So this is how I got that. I simply used the VLOOKUP function to add all the values here because I wanna have all the columns here. So then I can do some further calculations. And then I also created a column similar to this one, but this time I use this date as a reference to get the year and month from this date. So this is the fourth month, and then I also got the period number, which is basically the number of months in simple way as we can say. So here, let's say if we have a customer who made his first purchase in let's say January, and he was with us by the end of let's say March. So he was with us, let's say, for 3 months. So in the first month, his period number was zero, and in second month, his period number was one, and in the third month, his period number was two. This is how I did that to look at each customer and his period number or even his behavior in each month because that is a very important matrix in cohort analysis. How I did that, I simply firstly calculated a difference from year, like I calculated the difference in year from customer first purchase date and then the invoice date, and then I also calculated months as well to have the period number. So after that, I use this tab where I firstly, added this data by copying it from this pivot table to have some, analysis into it. So this is the table that we have. Normally, we create a table like this to understand the cohort analysis. So let me show you its interpretation. So we have the start month, and we basically divided each cohort based on his or her, let's say, first purchase date month, right? So we have customers who made their first purchase in January. So we have categorized them into a January cohort. And then we have the customers who made their, first purchase in February. We have categorized them into a February cohort and so onward. So, and then we are also looking at their behavior by each month. So this is what period number represents. So we have around 783 customers who made their first purchase in January. And then over a period of time, we'll look at this number customer, how many customers, we left with by the end of the year. So this is the number that we have. And then let's say we got customer who made the first purchase in February, how much the number was in let's say March, how much the number was in April, and so onward. So let's say I want to know the number of customers in February. I would not only use this cell to see number of customers in February, but I will also do a sum from this cell and this cell. This is how I will get the number of customers of February, and then to get the number of customers of March, I will do the sum of these cells. So it's showing a sort of diagonal pattern here. So this is how we are looking at different customers by the cohort. And if we want to calculate the customer retention, then we can simply, divide the value by the customers that we had at the start of the month by each cohort. So this is why I use a dollar sign here to log the value at the start. So, by each period, I'm dividing this number by the number of customers that we had at the start of each cohort. So this is how, I got customer retention by cohort. And as you guys can see, we got different customer retention values by the end of the year. It's 29%, it's 15%. And also one thing to observe here is like we have percentages that's getting increased or even decreased. The reason behind that is I'm using a sales data set, and it's very normal. Like customer don't buy products on a monthly basis. We have some cases like customer gets dormant or they come back after few months. So this is why number are getting a bit down and then getting a bit up. So that's a bit fluctuation here. But we are looking at the customer retention. That's the overall customer retention we have over the period of time by each cohort. And then let's say if we want to look at the revenue by cohorts, we can definitely do that. I created a pivot table for that. I simply copy and pasted all the values here and then did some conditional formatting to look at the numbers by colors. So we got revenue by different cohorts. It was This was the revenue we had at start, and by the end of the period, we had this revenue by each cohort, and then we can look at different cohorts to see which cohort performed well by the period, by different frame, or by different a time frame, or even by the end of the year. So and then I also I did a calculation on revenue retention percentage by cohort. It's the same formula. I just divided the revenue by the revenue that we had at the start. So let's say if we look at this value here, so I'm dividing this revenue number by the revenue that we had at the start of each cohort. So that's how I'm getting the revenue retention. And let's say if wanna calculate the cumulative revenue, we can do that as well. So here I'm referring this value of revenue that we had at the start of each cohort. And then for the second value, I will refer the value of previous one and then the value that we had at the first period. So this is how I will be calculating the cumulative revenue to see how much revenue will I have, or like how much revenue I had by the end of the period, but in different cohorts. So we got cohort one, who gave us this much of amount of revenue, and then we have different cohorts as well. And by the way, like the reason why we stopped here, because these are the future values we have, right? So this is not sort of like prediction we are doing so far. We are just analyzing the previous data to see which cohort performed well. So we can strategize our thinking or strategize our marketing or other techniques to segregate the customers or even make some categorizations. And by the way, we can also calculate the customer lifetime revenue. It's simple. We just have to divide the revenue by the customers that we had at the start of the month. So that's what I'm doing here to get the uh, customer lifetime revenue. And let's say if wanna calculate the customer lifetime value, we can do that as well because we have calculated the customer lifetime revenue and then the cumulative revenue as well. So here I assume the gross margin of 60%, and let's say our CAC, the cost of acquiring an customer is $500. So how would we calculate customer lifetime value? We would just, multiply the revenue by the gross margin that we have. I log this value because this will be the fixed number. So this is how we'll be getting the customer lifetime value. And as you guys can see, like our CAC was $500, but at the start, like we were losing some money. We were spending $500 on each customer, but each customer was giving us $363. But as you guys can see, since we move forward, we not even hit the target of CAT, but we also get some profit here, right? So this is how we can truly look into it, how much each cohort behave over a period of time, so we can make some decisions and strategize our business. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.